All right, man. Well, let's get to it. So, we're gonna have some fun with this interview. It's gonna be kind of like a follow up from our conversation the other day on the 10-Minute Mentor Show. Which, for those that are unfamiliar, I host a podcast called 10-Minute Mentor with Rich Perry, and actually in the notes right up here, if you're watching this on Facebook, I have the link to the group. So later on today, make sure you join that group, the 10-Minute Mentor podcast community. And every Monday, I bring in a guest mentor to teach us. This is not an interview format. It's getting these coaches, these leaders, these entrepreneurs, speakers, thought leaders on the show to share their insights. And this Monday, yesterday, if you're watching this in real time, I had my brother from another mother, Mr. Garry Melville, on the show, and we talked about patience. And the title of the show, we revolved around the story of the tortoise and the hare. And Garry shared some insights, taking that story that we've all heard about the tortoise and the hare, and how we can apply it, whether it's as a coach, whether it's as an entrepreneur, or even just you as an individual, taking these ideas and all of us learning some patience. So now that was my huge opening monologue, Garry, how are we doing, brother? Thank you so much for being here. What's going on with you during the COVID-19 apocalypse right now?
Living out the tortoise part of that story. Like, I'm really enjoying the slowdown. I was just telling you even before we started recording, I'm getting a lot of great writing done. A lot of people who had times being busy, their schedules are now wide open. So I'm in constant contact with a lot of great people. So I'm sowing as many seeds right now to see what trees like grow up a little bit later. So right now I'm really living that. But what about you?
Same, man. Just I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm still doing my regular exercises to keep as much normalcy as possible. A lot of people, and I think this is something that we all would do well to bring back into our lives, is what can we do? And I know we're getting off topic right now, but we're still going to bring it back in topic, because this is going to affect us all.
No, but it's needed. Go. Do your thing, hashtag.
What can we do to maintain some levels of normalcy? Like me, myself, I wake up, I still do my morning meditations. As I know, Garry, you're a big fan of morning and daily meditations as well. I still do my exercises. I still do my writing and my reading and things like that, whether it's the the kinesthetic flipping those pages because you want to feel that paper in your hands, or just listening on audiobook on your daily commute, or when you're walking around town in social distancing and self-isolation. But these are the things that we can do to maintain that level of normalcy. What about you? I know you said you've been doing a lot of writing, you've been doing a lot of connecting, and whether it's like poetry or just sharing your insights through social media. What have you been doing to maintain that level of normalcy?
I've actually taken the opposite to that point. I've been doing the most oddball things, stuff that I wouldn't do to fill the time. Like, this is my time to not be normal. This is my time to be weird and dare to be a little bit different than the cusp. Like, I've been reaching out to a lot of people I don't necessarily reach out to. There's been a lot of stories that I've written down, a lot of old ideas that you dust off those notes and just look by. I'm one of those guys likes to organize all my writings and stuff like that. So just dusting that off and just seeing, like, wow, remember starting one poem or one project being in one emotional state and not wanting to be there to express on that and write on it more deeply. And right now I have the time. There's no excuse for me to sit down and not do it, because my typical busy has been shut down. So I'm taking this as an opportunity to do the opposite. I'm being weird. I'm going I'm actually going deeper into my storytelling and my wittiness to bring something different out, working on different ways that I can become a better performer, become a better presenter, you know what I mean, in those lights. But then on my personal stuff, I just been same thing, just picking up with the little things, some push-ups and sit-ups and squats. Those things suck. My friend Taylor Pilata, I can't stand her. She made me do like what was it, the pistol ones when you got like one leg out and you got to dip down like and you try not
Okay.
to like destroy yourself. So she had me doing like 10 of those post the 100 squats. So like my butt's still kind of on fire from that. So so I
Okay.
appreciate it. But like this is my time to be weird, a little bit different. So that's what's keeping me going and a little bit excited because there's a lot of opportunities and the not knowing to really attempt something. You know.
Hmm. And for those that are not as familiar with Garry, I'll remind you, those that are just joining us. I've known Garry for a couple of years. He's a phenomenal coach. He's an inspirational speaker. He's a wonderful poet. And every day he puts out great content. He puts out his daily quotes. He has a lot of inspirational videos. So I encourage you at the end of this video, stick around right now and
Mhm.
hear this interview and this discussion. But later on, I'm going to encourage you to reach out and connect with Garry across the entire social multiverse because he's on all the channels. And I encourage you to connect with him and follow him there. Today, we're going to be talking about how to develop patience and new perspective. This is a topic that we discussed on the 10-Minute Mentor show the other day, and it aired yesterday. So real quick, Garry, for those that haven't listened to that particular episode, give us a quick synopsis of patience and how we can incorporate that and why it's even important in everyday life, but especially right now. Why do we need to develop the virtue of patience and how can it benefit us? So give us a quick rundown of that. And then you and I are going to have a quick little interview style. And any of the people that are watching this in real time, feel free to throw in some questions as well if you have any questions for Garry when it comes to patience or anything life inspiration.
Yeah. Well, last time we talked about the slowdown, like Tortoise and Hare, and that was more on the side of coaching and how says coaches wanting to give our clients the most of us in the shortest period of time possible, where we might actually benefit with slowing down with that and not giving everything that we have from Jump Street and seriously giving them a little by little and seeing what they can handle. That way we're more efficient as coaches. And that was in the realm of coaching. But right now, it's kind of like a mandatory slowdown. I think that we're really getting a hard look at who we are. And by being patient, you're going to have to really like own up to your own music and see what songs you've really been playing because it's easy to, we have our own little trials and tribulations and we bury that stuff in work. We bury that stuff in going out and escapism and all that little stuff. But I think now this mandatory patience is a really good time to get to know ourselves and what we're really made of and how we're really cut. And I think if you had anything you wanted to work on or hobbies that you never necessarily get to get on, like this is an opportunity to feed. You already know what my favorite quote is, like with the 7-year-old you, be proud of the adult you are right now. So like this is a time to make that 7-year-old you proud and really just enjoy that and getting to know yourself. It's going to be painful. It's going to be rocky. It's not going to be easy, but anything rocky and not easy is probably worth it. So I think that's where patience is really going to benefit us right now in our own self growth and taking our journeys into selves on our own times.
Mhm. What do you think about, because I mean, for years now, we've been living in this instant gratification world. Like, I want it right now. I want everything bigger. I want it all faster. I wanted it 10 minutes ago. We're not taking the time to slow down, prepare our meals, to enjoy time with other people. And now it's almost like the world has, in a way, come to a very slow pause and even a stop in some areas. How do you think that is screwing with people's sense of instant gratification? And like, what are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious.
Um, it's I think it's more of a not really like a stoppage per se, but I think that it's just people having to understand like, hey, I'm this caught up in my busy and the external and that I don't want to deal with something that's going on. You know what I mean? And even now there's like, hey, it's pretty much like every every person who ever pointed a finger or cast a stone, it's pretty much okay. It's coming back at you. Hey, I would love to sit around and watch TV all day. Well, guess what? That's what you're doing right now. And now it's like, wow, like this is work just doing this. You know what I mean? So I think for the people who did point fingers, this is like pretty much a like time to eat your cake. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that. But otherwise, I think this is a really good time to really, like I said before, I'm going to keep harping on this for this whole conversation, to really just enjoy the quiet, get to know yourself again, do something that you don't necessarily get a chance to do, and do it around the people that you care about while getting to know yourself. You know what I mean? You don't need to be around people. You need. I think this is the opportunity for us to enjoy our own company
Mhm.
and understand that we're enough.
All
Mhm.
right, well then let me ask you to go a little bit further on that one, because I know that for a lot of people, being with yourself. Now, I didn't say being alone. I didn't say, being by yourself or anything like that, but being with yourself. A lot of people have difficulty doing that. A lot of people have difficulty sitting in a room with themselves, with their thoughts, not scrolling on, well, and we're on Facebook right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, um, they got 10 things going on at the same time. They're watching TV while listening to music, while surfing the web and everything like that. Like, what are some tips that you have as someone who practices mindfulness, as someone who regularly meditates, with someone who preaches and is an advocate for spending time with oneself? What are a couple tips that you have, Garry, that can help lighten this burden and really encourage everyone to sit with themselves and just get to know themselves and reconnect with themselves? Because I'm sure for a lot of people it's been a long time since they've done that. What are some tips you have, man?
Well, first thing is you got to turn down the noise. I think we did the roomie challenge where it's 10 minutes, and I don't think people are even capable of 10 minutes now because we have our relationships with our cell phones that we have a hard time putting it down. So just turning off the noise. So for 5 minutes a day, maybe even 5 minutes an hour at this point in time, make it a point to set an alarm on your phone, turn off the TV, sit down and don't look at your phone. You know what I mean? And just be still. You know what I mean? And that's the first time to really sit down and get to know where you're at on a physical level. So the emotional stuff, the metaphysical stuff, that deep conscious thinking, that with that slowdown comes, that won't come down. That doesn't happen without practice and time. You know this, that even myself, the first time I started, it was like 3 minutes of me just sitting still. Now I can sit still for a good hour and a half, not budging. You know what I mean? That took time to work up to, and it was in those moments of minute by minute into those meditations where I can understood I can stay in this thought just a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. So I think a big starter step for that would be just to get quiet. You know what I mean? Turn off the TV, put your phone down, and see, and then make it a game. Put your phone down and see how many times I'm going to reach for my phone within this 5 minutes before this 5 minutes is up. You know what I mean? And you'll be surprised how many times you start knee jerking reaction because your mind's thinking, hey, I got to do something to do because it's been caught up in this busy, this fake busy that only that we constructed and you constructed. And now we have no choice but to ignore that because it's not true. It was never true. So I think in that being quiet and not answering to those calls, not answering to those fire and just being disciplined with just being quiet will be a first step in sitting down and being disciplined and say, hey, this is the thought or emotion or circumstance or trauma that I want to work on going forward.
Awesome. And for those that are wondering what Garry was talking about when he said the Rumi challenge, so what I do at the end of every episode of the podcast, we have what's called the 10-minute challenge, because everybody is I don't have time for this. I can't sitting down. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. I don't have time. So what we do,
Woe is me.
woe is
Woe
me.
is me.
So what we do is we challenge our listeners with a specific challenge that's brought by the guest mentor of that episode, and it's something that can be done
Which
in
is me.
10 minutes or less. Because if you're that busy, your schedule is so tight that you can't do this or that, well, I'll tell you what, I got news for you. Everybody can set aside 10 minutes out of their day. So this action
Especially now.
step, this especially now,
Especially now.
this activity is designed to give you something, give you an actionable item that you can do within 10 minutes that day to start seeing some results. So real quick, once again, tell them what the 10-minute challenge was that you offered our listeners in the most recent podcast episode, for those that are like, yo, I actually want to do something. So tell them about the Rumi challenge real quick. What?
Okay, so the Rumi challenge is an abbreviated challenge. So I just gave you guys of that 5 minutes. So just don't touch your phone. The Rumi challenge is 10 minutes of just putting your phone down and staring at a doorknob. And that gives you one thing to focus on. So you can actually train your mind to hone in on one thing. I said the first thing just to be out without your phone, just to try to teach you maybe just not to react to everything, but by you actually focusing on a doorknob, there's going to be the first conscious thought or choice you're making to focus on one thing versus staying 10 minutes. And now you can take that same thing as looking at a doorknob to going into those emotions and talking about deeper in the coaching, pretty much like, hey, I had this one thing happen to me. So now for the next 10 minutes, I can focus on this one thing and say, hey, I see it this way. And then maybe just deconstruct it and like, oh, well, this is my fault in that one thing. And that's pretty much the training that leads up into that. But this is like pretty much shell base levels type stuff. And honestly, 10 minutes is honestly right now. I really think going back to what you said about the cell phones and us having these relationships with us, I think 10 minutes might even be too much for people. And because they're not able to have that sustained thought, like 10 minutes in alone or like in silence might be agony or nails on a chalkboard. You know what I mean? So maybe just 5 minutes, guys, like, you know what I mean? Like, and build up that muscle. And if you can't make 5 minutes, like, I'm abbreviating a 10-minute challenge. You know what I mean? If you can't make 5 minutes for yourself, you're unbelievably selfish to your non-fulfilling habits. You know what I mean? And this is something that you can work on right now to make your tomorrow a little bit better.
Definitely. And I know this is a similar exercise that Lawrence, my main man, Lawrence
Hashtag Austin.
has given us before. And the exercise that Lawrence said was very similar to what Garry said. And if you find yourself having difficulty sitting down for the excruciating 10 minutes all at once, then on the first day, you set your phone, the alarm, any kind of stopwatch for just 1 minute. First day, 1 minute. Day 2, 2 minutes. Day 3, 3 minutes. And you can build up to that 10-minute marker. Okay, so guys, if 10 minutes is way, way, way too long the first day, then we got you. Just do 1 minute, and then 2 minutes and 3 minutes, and build up, like Garry said, that mental muscle. And then you'll find it easy to sit with yourself practicing patience. And real quick, because I know, Garry, I'm just going to ask you this question. We're getting a little bit off topic, but still staying on topic, because my main man, Paul Shump, is in here. And Paul and I had a conversation earlier. He was asking questions on remaining productive, because I know, Garry, that you're a beast when it comes to productivity. For those that are getting the cold water splashed in their face from working at home now, what are maybe 2 or 3 tips for remaining productive that you might have for our viewers right now? Like, what can all these people that have never worked from home before, they're used to going into the office and a boss telling them what to do, or you know, they're just not accustomed to kind of designing their own schedule. So
Okay.
Garry, real quick, give me a couple tips for remaining productive. What helps you when you want to be productive?
Well, first off, you got to zero in on the thing that it's completely in your control. And I know that you think, hey, now that I'm not working and I'm working from home, blah, 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 I'm not in control of a lot of things. There's definitely something that you are in control of. So my thing is first identifying that thing you're in control of, and then two, beating it to death with a hammer until like it becomes a part of your daily routine, and it's pretty much something you're gonna do for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And everybody see case in point, the quote of the day that I've done and I have been doing since for the past 7 years. That started off with one repetition every day. You know what I mean? I just kept drilling and drilling and drilling, and became a point that I can't see myself not doing it to start the day. So maybe now it's an opportunity, like I was saying, to practice on that one thing that is in control while you're at home, which is beneficial to not only your employer or your future dream, but to you in that immediate moment. And then once that becomes a habit, you start building on it. It's like, what else am I in control of? What else
Mhm.
am I in control of? And once you get the handle of those 2 or 3 or 5 things that you completely control, and now you can start worrying about the externals of like, okay, because I handled these things, now I can handle these things and this duration. So really just zeroing in on what can you do, and then how much time are you willing to delegate to those things, because there is going to be a abundance of time right now to work on said things. So it's going to be on that person, and if it wants to be for an hour, it can be. If it wants to be for 5 minutes, it can be. No different from the roomie challenge that we just spoke about a little bit ago. So
Mhm.
like that.
Awesome. Well, Paul, I hope that helps you out. I want to give a big shout out to my main man, David Norris, fellow co-author in
David
the Change Book
Norris,
series. David,
change,
hope you're
change, 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 change.
staying well down in Texas. David just threw in a whole bunch of thumbs up while you were speaking. So we appreciate the thumbs up and the love and all the
Thank you,
emojis
Dave.
and all that good stuff. Um,
Where's my
Garry,
man hashtag at? I miss Austin. Where's hashtag Austin when you need him?
Lawrence is. I spoke with Lawrence yesterday. We were back and forth on some stuff, and he's probably doing something today. I don't know what he's doing. But hey, David, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in and dropping by.
What's up,
Um,
Dave?
big shout out to I said Paul's in here. My
Yeah,
man
sorry
Marcus
about my
is in
lighting,
there.
guys. I wasn't ready for this. I thought I was better. I failed y'all. I'm sorry.
Monty is still in here. Big shout out to Monty. Um,
Money.
Anybody have any questions? If you have a question for Garry, in the next few minutes, we're talking about developing patience and perspective, whether it's in life or given the circumstances that we all find ourselves in right now. For those that missed my introduction, Garry is a dear friend. I consider him a brother from another mother. We've done speaking events together for years. He's
Years.
a wonderful coach. He's an inspirational speaker. He's a great poet. And once again, I'm going to encourage everyone at the end of this video to conclusion to reach out to Garry. And if you have any questions, throw him a line. Garry is in our Facebook group, 10-Minute Mentor Podcast Community. If you're
Yep.
not already in the group, go ahead
Get
and
in it.
get in there. I put the link in the show notes over there. So if anyone has any questions for Garry, time to let them in.
Fire away.
So David said Garry's right on with focus and perspective, and that is the one thing we definitely can control. So absolutely, guys, stay focused on what it is that you're doing, and yeah, Garry, got any closing words for us, my man? Like, what are you working on these days? Other than
Um,
I know you had said you have some poetry. Um,
yep. I've been going beast mode on my poetry. I can't wait.
Yeah.
They don't let me out of this little cave they put me in because I'm gonna have a lot of fun when I'm out. I swear to gosh. No, I'm actually really excited. No, like I said, I had a lot of older stuff that I got to dust off, and I made it a point each day to work on something new. And now I'm seeing the fruits of those labors. So like now I'm gonna enjoy the fruit a little bit. But my closing words, guys, is honestly like take this as the opportunity that it is. One of you, I think I just sent it to you. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is right now. So everything that's in your control, change your perspective. I know that you want to do a million things that you can today, but it's not in the cards. We're trying to be safe. We want everybody to be safe, and we want to keep ourselves safe as well. So I think it's extremely important now that we say, okay, what project did I ever want to do? If I wanted to start a book, I'm going to start a couple pages of my book today. If I wanted to lose a couple pounds, okay, let me look on YouTube and see some home workouts I can do. If I want to write a letter to somebody that I miss or just haven't spoken to in a while, here's the time to do it. If there's somebody that you held a bunch of resentment towards that you no longer hold, this is the time to reach out to those people. We have the time. So if you guys have it in you to really be great and really come out of here different than you when you walked into it, I urge you guys to do one of those things that you've always wanted to work on and just send it forward. Reach out to the people who hurt you. Reach out to people who love you and just say thank you. Do yourself a favor. Start your book. Start your title. Rich finished a book. I'm dyslexic as all hell, and I wrote two of them. You know what I mean? So like, it's possible, but it's going to be with the little daily efforts, and that's all in your control. So please block out everything. It's easy to dial into the negativity. Tap into your greatness. Find your legend and start working at that legend right now. Because trust me, by the time this is all over, and it will be over, you'll have something to show for it, and something amazing to show for it at that.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that you said that, and David just chimed in and said now is the time. And absolutely, I think that's a wonderful way to segue into our conclusion, unless something pops up real quick. But Garry, I'm glad that you said to utilize this time wisely, as opposed to sitting on the couch and just binge watching Netflix and all the streaming sites. Like, hey, I'm all for family time and, invite a friend or two over, but maintain social distancing when you're sitting on the couch. But I
Yeah,
mean, this is a great opportunity to, there's something in all of us that we've been saying, I want to do this. I want to improve my health and wellness. I want to get fit. Yo, my clothes are feeling a little snug after the
this is the
winter
time.
break. This is that time to start walking or start running. This is the time to, you've been saying, oh, I have all these ideas and thoughts. I want to write that book. Yo, grab that notebook and grab a pen and start writing. Or if you want to go on the keyboard, then open up Microsoft Word and start putting those thoughts on that digital paper. If you've been talking about starting that business, well, this is a great time to start that side hustle. Okay, there are so many things that we can be doing to utilize this time wisely, like Garry said, to come out on the other end better and stronger. So I encourage you to utilize this time wisely so that you're in a better position mentally, emotionally, spiritually a few weeks down the road. So thank you, Garry, for saying that. I want to, yeah, and Paul said use a digital recorder, whatever it takes, man. Just
Yeah,
you got ideas, you have.
we have the options, we have the tools. It's seriously, the world is at your feet at this point in time. Will you seize it? You know what I mean? And even if you're gonna like I've taken some time to watch some movies and some catch up on some shows, but my appreciation for that artist who had the idea in his head, that wrote a script, that pitched it to somebody that somebody believed in, and they were able to get some casting money, and they put the cast together, and then they got the guys with the camera, then became this production that wound up getting taken on by Netflix, that wind up that I'm watching right now. Like that, all that build up, like somebody started with silence from, you know what I mean? And you have an opportunity to do something like that. So make sure that you're preparing for the next time that people get quiet and they're looking for something to do, that you built enough content up that they're looking at you now. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, what can I do in this time when I'm bored? Oh, let me watch this show that you created. You know what I mean? Like, and continue your legacy, but it's an opportunity, and I hope everybody sees it as such, especially anybody who's involved in these groups, because we're building for right now, but also like seeing that we submitted a lot of good things for the future, as well as, hey, these were our missteps. You don't have to make it. So we're pretty much showing up our past, that people aren't going to make the same mistakes. So don't make that mistake and waste this moment for nothing other than you wanted to kick your feet up.
Absolutely. I love it. And I want to thank everybody who is watching the live stream of this on Facebook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the recording of this, edit it out, the fronts and the backs and all that stuff. And then I'm going to put,
I was cursing the whole time.
I'm going to put it up on YouTube. So it'll be available on Facebook, on YouTube, and we'll be able to share this around the social multiverse. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you're not already a member of the 10-Minute Mentor podcast community right here on Facebook, we did this live stream on my timeline, but I do have a group. Gary's a member there. We're going to bring him in there for a private discussion very soon, but you have to be a member of the group to benefit from that. So the link is right up top, 10-Minute Mentor podcast community. I'm also going to drop Gary's links. And Gary, feel free to drop your links in the comments below later on. And I encourage everyone to reach out to him. He's got a YouTube page. He's obviously here on Facebook. He's on Instagram every day. Follow Gary. He's got awesome inspirational quotes and daily vlogs that are things that you're going to want them in your life. They're going to put a smile on your face, and you're going to feel better having watched Gary. Connect with him. And that's it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope you're out there, you're safe. Remember, guys, social distancing, help those in need, educate your friends and family members that maybe missed what the CDC and government officials are saying right now. But be safe, be healthy, be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, and be excellent.
Hey, guys, love you. Peace.